Hello, it's Living Dead, and I am coming to play another WOD from the Doom World forums. This one is TECHBASE1, which is the first completed map by somebody known as tuturbo1991. Looks like we're dealing with a fairly standard vanilla type of affair. As you can hear, we're kicking off with some D running playing, so we're going all the way back to the basics, it seems like. So far, to start with, though, a fairly competently looking starting area in this map. So this is promising for sure. Just going to really quickly get a save going. And okay. So we can start off with a little bit of gear, which I'm okay with. Don't know if, I think I didn't mention this, we're playing in GC Doom, Ultraviolence. 142 monsters and 3 secrets, and already off to a interesting start. There's a lot of stuff to shoot so far. Ah, that sucked. Auto pickup, man. Ruins plans. Okay, so let's see what else we're dealing with. That definitely looked like a secret. Yeah, pretty telegraphed at that point. Oh, cool. I didn't even realize it looked out into the secret from here. I kind of was just anticipating it was looking outside and then maybe someone would shoot me, so I didn't really come over here, but that's neat. That's good. Definitely leaving clues that we have any secrets to find in the first place. Always a good sign. Very interesting visual design going on here. Textures are used a little bit, I won't say sporadic, but definitely a lot of intent to do variety here. Good use of border textures though, and making the rooms like kind of, you know, some nice little detail in the sectors and stuff. So it's a good start here. It's a little odd that the door is like right up against the wall here, but you know, whatever. It's not the most egregious thing in the world. It's just not standard, I would say. Okay, so let's see what this switch does. Ooh, we're getting some plasma, so we're gonna be shooting something pretty serious. Another hint at a secret. Okay. Seems like you get to it through here, maybe. How do you get in here? Something to smash? Oh yeah. Yes. Big fan of that. Big fan of that. Man, I'd really love to know how to get that. Nice, okay. Well, I know we're dealing with ultraviolence here, but man, it would be nice to pick up some health at some point. Especially with all these hit scanners, like, sometimes that just comes down to luck. Guess we're just gonna have to make do. Play very carefully. Okay. I was actually going to explore this other area that I was in just a moment ago, but I want to just make sure I could get some health before I go too far into it. Okay. This feels like it would be something where you'd have a little battle or a trap or something happening, but maybe it's just a quick diversion for a little storage area. I don't know. I like that we have some choices about where to go. It's always a fun way to get into things. Just give it a little incentive to explore. Nice little variety here. We're going into this kind of like maze sort of area. It's pretty open, so there's not really much threat to this. You're just kind of going from spot to spot, just killing stuff. And there isn't really a whole lot in the way of a lot of danger. The hit scanners were kind of the deadliest thing, and, you know, some mistakes that I made. Wow, was the whole point of this just to come here and get the Berserk? Okay. Almost feels just kind of like a tacked on area, but I guess that's not the worst kind of reward for exploring. It was certainly opportune in terms of getting it when I needed it. I have a feeling that this secret is unlocked somewhere in this vicinity, maybe. Oh, wait. What do I see? Sorry, that was cheating, wasn't it? I crouched when I wasn't supposed to. But it didn't matter, because you can hit that switch, and now we can get this. Perfect. Cool. So we're at 66% for the secrets. Little under halfway done with the map. Actually, yeah, just about. In terms of monsters, who do we have here? Archvile? No. Ooh, plasma gun. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Little cave-in over here. Is this a secret too? So I don't like that the dropping down into the poison was pretty much mandatory with no rad suit, especially because you gave the player, like, what, 2 stim packs right beforehand, and so, you know, if somebody had made a couple of mistakes, it's just a bit mean-spirited to kind of be that punishing with the damage that somebody's going to have to take. I mean, I would almost consider using hit scanners in a fight as, like, almost mandatory damage, just because, like, unless you're doing a lot of, you know, sort of popping around corners like this, at some point in, like, a more open fight, yeah, like, hit scanner's just going to wander in and get you, so you're going to get chipped in terms of damage a little bit, and then not a lot of health recovery, and then on top of, you know, that, then you've got to drop down into poison for mandatory progression. Just, something that I would consider, because I don't love that. Okay, so we now have 2 keys we're looking for, both the red key and now the blue skull. And kind of like the idea, we saw those like poison trails earlier in the map, and now we're kind of seeing this like subterranean cave where maybe it seems like this poison is coming from or something, or it's draining to. It's neat. I like the sort of continuity in the I always like to think of it as sort of like the map story, even though it's really just answering the question of like, what is this area and why does it exist? It always just implies a little bit of story, in my opinion, so I like that type of detail. Okay, so, oh yeah, I have this rocket launcher with tons of ammo, so let's just get rid of this buddy here. Okay, and this seems to imply to me that we'll be using the red key to maybe get the blue key. What's down here? Yeah, so we have this this drainage pipe for this poison that seems to be, again, where some of this is coming from, although this doesn't really connect to anything, so it's just like a cistern of some kind of poison. Okay, so you have to go across that ledge to get that red key. That's a little awkward. It's just a little like it's obstructed. And I would always err towards the side of making it so you kind of realize, like, a little bit more obviously where you, like, if you come into the room and realize the key, I mean, I guess you can think of it this way. You're going to notice the key is up in this platform, and so you realize, like, I'm going to have to hit a switch or trigger something to lower it. So you will be in the process of searching, but this does feel maybe just slightly obtuse to me, the fact that it's hidden behind this poison fall. I don't know. It's not egregious, but it could be considered for improvement. Okay, so now we have here, and we have circled back around. Kind of the first real sort of trap type of thing in the whole map. It was just opening this door to kind of refresh the starting area with new enemies. And I'm hearing something wandering around. Spider boy? I like that you give the ability for like this loop to exist. I guess you kind of have to find a path to loop back around since you drop down into this poison, but kind of neat to bring it back to the starting area. I always find it amusing when the door behind the starting area is actually like functionally something in the map, because it always makes you wonder, like, why am I starting out in the middle of this room? And where did I come from? It's a neat little detail. I like this. And then, is this just like random piping and stuff? It's a little weird looking, but it certainly fits in terms of detailing. And then, oh, is that just a shortcut to go backwards if I really want to go dive into poison again? That's neat. Again, the whole sort of continuity where you see this kind of consistent theming of like this path that the poison almost takes through the level. It was pretty cool. What did that do? It opened this door here? Is that a secret? No, it's not. I was going to say that's a very obvious secret and also very generous, but it's not. So, okay, this is a trap. And here's how I can tell. I mean, first of all, if you walk down this hallway that's completely empty with a key at the end of it and you don't think that's a trap, you need to place some more doom. And secondly, these are not coded as one-sided, so I can see them on the auto map, and I assume that's what's going to open up to reveal monsters. Which I made a very similar mistake in a map that I recently published. So, I only just kind of recently learned it. But yeah, you highlight these in Doom Builder, and you're either hidden on auto map or they should be flagged as one-sided so that they appear to be exterior walls leading to void space, just like these ones here. They'll match these, and it won't indicate to the player that this is the trap here. Even though this is very obviously a trap, it'll be just slightly more surprising in terms of how does it open up, what's going to come out of it. Anyways, so now we have the blue skull, and oh, okay, so then this little shortcut lets us get back here where we need to use the blue skull. And I guess I'll start putting this plasma gun to use. I haven't really felt that much of an incentive to use it, but it seems like I'm pretty much done with the map, so I guess that's it. Is this the end? Are we lowering a teleporter? Okay. That was pretty quick and to the point. TECHBASE1. Let's go back and just do a little bit of exploring real quick. So as I have begun to kind of typically do, is a sort of post-mortem to a map that I've just played. We're going to go back and explore it a little bit and just kind of look around and note some observations here. So, and again, this is may get into the point of being slightly nitpicky or not, we'll see, but I'm just going to kind of go through and sort of consolidate some thoughts together. I like the overall structure here. I think we've got what is absolutely, better than a lot of "this is my first map ever" kind of posts on Doom World, which is literally just like boxes and rectangles and doors and doors and doors and doors. This map, most of the spaces are still very much just rectangular in shape for the most part, but they're organized in a more interesting way than you would normally anticipate. There's some good actual connecting areas that are, clearly distinctly different rooms. This is a different room, this is a room, this is a room, this is a hallway, but there's not a single door that separates all of these areas, so you get this nice flow, and you could potentially foresee like monsters wandering around, which I always like. However, a lot of these areas are like very open, and again just feel almost like extemporaneous. Like this here is an interesting detail, but it almost just seems to be like the result of a "what else should I put in my map" type of thought than what is going to actually be the purpose of this room. That question was answered second, and it's a neat detail, but it's certainly going to leave people wondering, like, shouldn't there be more here? So just something to consider, because I mean this is a lot of stuff to just really accumulate to picking up a couple of bonuses and a box of shells and a box of bullets. But it is also a neat detail in terms of you're getting this good contrast between and I like this general area for this kind of quality overall, but this contrast between different types of spaces, so that's kind of like corridor and a little bit more open functional sort of transition area, another sort of kind of roamy sort of base type of area, and then you kind of have this neat little outdoors area with some kind of classic, almost knee-deep in the dead looking vibes to it at times. And so structurally it's very interesting, but again it's almost just like, so the space feels a bit extemporaneous in terms of like it could honestly just be nothing and it would still, I don't know. It's, again, this is a bit of a nitpick. This is interesting, and you almost just don't expect to get a free plasma gun like this most of the time. So it's a bit surprising that you just hit the switch and pick it up, and then you just keep going like nothing happened. In fact, I feel like this map doesn't really have much in the way of traps at all, except for the blue key, and then once you kind of cycle back through after you've gotten the red key and you come back to the beginning, and there's just like a door that opened with some new monsters, but there's not really much in the way of traps, so it's pretty much just room to room. And I would say maybe that's the biggest thing that I would focus on if I were to go through and try to learn lessons from having made this map, is that a lot of the spaces are just kind of like really open, and the combat is pretty tepid in terms of you just kind of just by the numbers, you just pull out the gun and you just shoot the guy, and then you just move on to the next one. And there isn't a whole lot in the way of converging elements that really force me into making interesting decisions or really require me to use the geometry of the map. Oh, is that the last secret that I missed? Oh, a super shotgun. Cool. Like you kind of have this whole area that's structured like an arena, but then really all you do is you just kind of come in here, you wake these guys up, and then they sort of just funnel towards you here, and you just pluck them off with the shotgun or the chain gun, and that's about it. The most dangerous thing in this room is the Mancubus, and either you found the rocket launcher or at least the plasma gun, or, I mean, even just up here, it's not very difficult to just pick him off. I think what would really help out a lot is, if you came in here and maybe locked the player into this room, and then monsters spawn in after the fact, it would just be neat if there was an excuse to kind of like run through here and use this space a little bit more to do something with it. But as it stands, it's really just kind of a big open area that you don't do a whole lot with overall. So then that kind of persists across this map overall. It's sort of just a lot of big open areas without much in the way of external force pushing you around. You just kind of go from room to room because that's what you do when you're exploring the map like this. I like this side area, but again, it's just kind of, you know, it's fairly open, and you just kind of go from spot to spot, just triggering the monsters to wake up and then just killing them one at a time. Outside of that, I mean, I think visually it's, I'm not going to pretend like it could be improved, but I think it's a fairly solid first effort for somebody. There's not really a lot of like glaring textural issues. There's, you know, some oddities here and there, like the fact that this texture doesn't line up. And that would be fixed by just making sure that you make the texture, the walls length multiples of 16 so that they actually you know, accommodate the size of the texture a little bit better. And I made that mistake very consistently throughout my first map. So this isn't like me trying to be like, I'm better than you or anything. I made this mistake constantly. It's just imparting a lesson that I learned, that really you want to try to make most of the walls multiples of 16 or so, because, you know, most of the textures are 64 or 128 units wide or 256. So doing that, just considering that, makes it a little bit easier for the textures to line up. And then, you know, you can use Doom Builder's auto align features to pretty much make most of these misalignments go away completely. You know, texture choices can be a little bit, I'd say, eccentric, just to a slight degree, but it's that's just more an experience thing. So it's not really saying, here's the reasons why this map isn't good. It's just pointing out, you know, I'm sure that these are things that the author is going to improve as they continue to make maps. I like the journey of the map overall. It's got a lot of good differences in different areas that you go to, and exploring is fairly interesting. The progression is pretty clear. I like the fact that you encounter the doors well before you see the keys for them. So, I mean, you do start off by kind of seeing the red key out here if you're paying attention, so that's a good thing to kick off the map to give you an objective to start with. You exactly know what you're going to do, and so you see the key, and then later on, you know, while you're exploring, you do encounter the red door, and so it starts to begin to kind of tie this map's progression together. You can build a bit of a mental map while you're going through it. And then, again, a similar thing with seeing the blue skull door, finally getting the red key, and then it kind of comes full circle again. If you can discover this here, you will unlock a shortcut to take you very quickly back to the blue key. And I like that. I like it when the progressions open back up onto each other and provide shortcuts or just a nice little flow. And then, you know, another kind of simple area, so it almost looks like they are, like, sort of hell portal is like hidden away in this like sewage cave system or something, which I always kind of like. It's like they're hiding it away. They built the base over around it to protect it or to study it or whatever. And but again, this is just kind of a, you know, here's just a couple of monsters. By this point, you had, you know, I had what, 10 rockets and over 300 cells. I could have had the super shotgun. Not much of a threat here. I mean, difficulty on this map is certainly on the lower end, and that's fine if that's what you want. If you intended it to be a little bit more difficult, I think it's a little inconsistent. Honestly, the hardest part was at the beginning when I just didn't have a lot of health. I'd gotten kind of chipped pretty badly by most of the hit scanners, and you know, then having only stim packs to kind of recover, dropping down to the poison, which is mandatory damage. But then you get a supercharge for free just out in the open, and then there's a blue armor here at the very end of the map, and then all you really fight with, you know, is 3 Hell Knights and a Baron. So it's, you know, it's fairly light on the difficulty. What you really want to consider, if that's something you're hoping to improve, is what's going to force the player into an engagement besides the fact that, like, these monsters are just standing in my way. You want to have, you know, reliance on traps and surprises can kind of help spice that up. Give some unexpected events happening in the map, because there's not really much in the way of, you know, bucking expectations or challenging expectations. So you just kind of jump into it, and you just go deal with the stuff that's blocking you in the way. And you know, so you know, it certainly feels like a map that could be improved by just considering, like, how can I surprise the player? Again, like, maybe lock you into this arena, make the monsters spawn into the arena to kind of pull you into it a little bit more. and a little bit of use of pressure units to kind of move around, like cacodemons to converge down on the player, or revenants in closets or on turret positions to kind of keep you from standing still for too long. Just things to try to force you into the engagement and try to get you to make decisions based on what's happening, rather than, again, just, well, let me pull out my strongest gun and just click the button to deal with the thing that's in my way. But overall, this is just me kind of going through and trying to see if I can observe things that might be, stated to improve. I certainly don't want to discourage this author or anything, because I've enjoyed playing this map, absolutely, and I think it's a great first effort for somebody who has completed their map for, a map for the first time. It certainly has filed down some of those roughness on the edges that you see in a lot of first-time maps that are, again, just like, here's 4 squares all connected by doors, and that's all that it is. And, no thought to texturing or visuals or really making it interesting at all. This is much better than that. So, props to tuturbo1991. This is a very nice first effort. I'm interested to see how this author will continue to evolve and what other maps they are going to share, and see what the future holds for this. So, hope you enjoyed the video and found it informative. If you would like to try the map, there is a link down below in the description. Thank you again for watching, and as always, take care.